Gotta get my angle. Very Hollywood. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and usually Tom is sitting here beside me, but he's out at his amateur theater group tonight. I understand they're doing an all-female remake of The Dukes of Hazzard, so...
it's a bold move.
It is a bold move, creatively, it really is. So sitting in for him tonight, this handsome young man is our son, Christian, and we're going to talk to you about great reasons why camping is great for families. So we started camping as a family when you were what?
Oh goodness, 7?
6 or 7 years old. So we camped for a good 20 plus years before you headed out on your own and started your own life. And there were a couple of reasons why we as a family decided to take up camping as recreation. And the biggest of those reasons was we live in a suburban environment. We have a townhouse. He grew up in a townhouse, and we have a yard, and there were neighborhood kids, but we really wanted our son to have a little bit of a sense of appreciation for the outdoors. And I think it worked for you.
Oh, goodness, yes, I would say so.
Now, you have to excuse his voice, first of all. I should have said that. He's visiting from California, and he has lost his voice to some degree, but I think you can understand him.
I'll mumble through.
He'll mumble.
Scratchy.
Yeah. So what is your first actual conscious recollection of camping?
Oh my goodness. Well, Cape May. Was that our first ever actual camping trip?
Oh, yes.
And I remember the thing that I was most excited for was to have a campfire. And from what I recall, we were not allowed to have campfires.
It was back, our very first camping trip, and back when we still thought campfires were dangerous.
Yeah.
But you found a way around that.
Yes, well, and certainly not in any dangerous fashion. But yes, I decided to take a citronella candle and start gathering up some twigs that were along the road or just kind of along the site. And I built just a small 4-foot flame.
Yeah, right. That's about right, because we looked out the tent, your dad and I, and we thought you were on fire momentarily.
Yeah, I'm quite certain I started that project without your knowledge.
Yeah, you definitely did. Definitely did.
And by the end of it, it was, well, it's already burning now, so I suppose if you can just keep it in that zone, it'll be okay for another however long it took to burn out or whatever it was.
As long as you don't start setting the campers on either side of us on fire, we're going to let you experiment with this one. But do you remember that camping experience, the preparations that we went to for Cape May? We had, I think, 2 complete cartons of canned vegetables.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
We had...
I felt like we had 5 boxes of cereal.
We did.
We
did. We had canned goods, we had Spam, we had tuna, we had boxes of rice, I think, and instant mashed potatoes, because, we just assumed we're at a campground in the wild somewhere in Cape May, New Jersey. There can't possibly be a grocery store anywhere nearby.
Oh, no, it was a camping trip that doubled as a apocalypse survival test, just to see how much we could actually bring with us. I was surprised we didn't squeeze in an armchair or 2.
But my favorite memory from that trip was sort of like the campfire was unsafe. The last morning before we headed home, there was some breakfast sausages that we had brought that were thawed out and we had to cook. So you and I put them on a twig, on a stick, and we cooked them over the open campfire. And when we thought they were fully cooked, we were eating them and we were enjoying them. And we tried to offer one to your dad, and he went, "I'm not eating that. There is absolutely no way that sausage is cooked." It was a 1/2 inch in diameter, and we had it charred black. But nope, there is no way that pork is done. So, you never really wanted to bring friends along when you were little, when you were camping. Why was that?
Not often. I don't know. I think I just like the idea of escaping as a family, more or less. There was something special about that. You would always, especially as I got a little older, you had offered. And I also don't know that I had a lot of friends that I knew for sure would love the camping
Right.
experience. But again, at that time, I was relatively, even closer to teenage years, I was relatively young, so I didn't really know for sure if they would enjoy it or not. But
Yeah.
I guess it was always a vibe that, oh, I don't know if this is for everyone, but I mean, now growing up, I don't even know why I would have assumed that, but
Well, and we had a couple of. We started off thinking we're going to set these rules and we're not going to watch TV and we're going to, we're going to make it clear to everyone that this is family time. But as it went on, we realized we never even had to enforce those rules because voluntarily it was such a kick to be together without the stress of work, without phone calls to answer, emails to answer, just us three as a family. And we were always doing something. We had games, we played cards, fires, we walked around the campground, we were always at the camp store.
well, most of the time we were eating, which was
Yes.
always the best part.
Primarily, we ate.
Whether
And we still do.
Well, always.
Indoors or outdoors. That's
Definitely something
a
I've
good-
carried with me. Every trip has to revolve around a delicious food destination.
So, what was your all-time favorite trip?
Oh man, probably which camp? Well, I believe it was. Now, granted, it wasn't the best overall camping trip, but I think Roaring Point
Yes,
was
Lawrence,
the first
in Maryland.
experience with the Maryland blue crabs. And what I mean by that was I was fascinated by when the tide would rise and fall, or rise and lower. The blue crabs would be visible almost at all times, specifically as the tide was on its way back down. And I was just fascinated by it because I had never seen so many crabs just out and about, not completely unfazed by
Human
people running
interaction.
by or people
Yeah.
on the beach. And I remember that was so exciting, and I believe that was the same trip you guys bought me the crab net.
Yes.
And I'm a bit of an animal lover myself, so I of course never caught them to eat them or anything like that. But occasionally I would just dip the crab net in the shallow water, and I would just love looking at them. And they weren't very pleased, but then of course I would just drop them back in, and every now and then we'd get one where they would just be stuck to the net.
Latched
just-
onto the netting. But that was the trip where you announced to us that you were, quote, one with the crab.
Yes.
So, yeah, you developed a love of sea life at that one. Well, what do you think is the best? What would you tell people who are considering taking their family camping and haven't quite pulled the trigger yet? What do you think is the best benefit to a family of spending a weekend camping?
It just pulls you out of, especially these days. I mean, my goodness, it's no secret we're all attached to our mobile devices of various shapes, sizes, kinds, purposes, and everything else. And it's just nice to have a moment where even if you're not in the most secluded area on Earth camping, it's just nice to be able to just sit, enjoy each other's company. I've always been lucky enough to have a family where we did enjoy each other's company. I know that maybe some folks don't
Aren't
want to
as
spend
lucky, aren't quite
too
as
much time
Together.
but no, in all seriousness, it's just nice to sit. You reevaluate, you rethink. It broadens your horizons, and whether you are sitting in front of a campfire, excuse me, or if you're lucky enough to have a beautiful view, it's just an experience that can't be easily replicated in a different way, or
Right.
at least in my opinion.
Not in the confines of your own home, even sometimes, because really that's where you carry your stress a lot of times. To be in an environment, for me, to be in and we went to the same spots a lot because we loved them: Ocean City, Maryland, Delaware, Fenwick Island, Delaware. So we
It felt like every
revisit.
few years we would try,
A
or every
different spot.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay, well we love this one. Okay, I guess we'll try another one. But yeah.
But there was something about exploring a place that was just a little different that made your perception, the broad you, not you, made your perception of that area and that trip much more unique than coming home every day. I mean, you can love and enjoy your family in your home every day, obviously, but just that experience of being outside, like he said, your comfort zone, being outside your familiarity zone. You look at that place in a different perspective, and I think you look at your family in a different perspective too, because you're all sharing something new together.
Well, and we were always talking too.
Yes.
I mean, I was certainly goofing off and doing this and that and eating good food. But yeah, it just talking about anything and everything, and just finding ways to connect, and just this kind of refreshing.
And get to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're all escaping together as well. So
Exactly.
as
Yes,
you
that's well
experience
said.
all of this at the same time, you're talking about it and talking it all out, and even I know in our case we would always be recapping the day of eating. Certainly,
And planning the next day's menu, for instance.
just what is for breakfast. That's what. But no, I mean just recapping the activities and just all of that.
Now, I'm going to, as a way, sort of a way of closing, I'm going to quiz you on some interesting experiences that we encountered in our various years of and locations of camping, and see if you remember. See if these ring a bell.
Okay.
There is no prize and no points,
Oh,
so it's easy.
I was promised a gift card for
A
pier.
meal?
Is that still just
Okay. If I say a guy starting a campfire with styrofoam from McDonald's, does that ring a bell to you?
Oh my goodness, it does, but I can't place it exactly.
How about our cable wire catching on fire?
Oh goodness, yes. Oh man, that was vacation one year?
It was, yes, that all happened in the same campground in Hagerstown, Maryland, and we won't name it just in case they're still having those electrical issues. How about the camper neighbor who went on the search for bear scat?
Oh God, yeah. Oh my goodness, this is wild. I can't believe I don't remember these in more vivid detail. But
The guy's name was Cole.
Yes. Where was that? Where was that one?
Up in Williamsport. We had a seasonal campground one year on the Susquehanna River, West Branch of the Susquehanna River in
cool.
Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And our neighbor, throughout the course of a couple of weekends getting to know him, he was a master captain one weekend. He was he was a dog trainer the next weekend. He recommended that we lock our dogs in a box with no light in order to discipline them because they barked.
Yeah, the coffin punishment, that's a popular one. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But the best was he told my husband that he saw a bear in the woods along the Susquehanna River. So to screw around with him a little bit, a few hours later when Cole came back, my husband said that he took him up on this advice to go see this bear, and he didn't find the bear, but he found the bear's scat. And the next day, Cole came running up to our campground with a plastic bag of said bear scat, which of course never existed. But yeah, he was a gem. And finally, the one that I think you may have the most recollection of, does A-Rod ring a bell?
Yes. Oh goodness, the entire softball team that decided to move in.
Camp next to us.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Williamsport is famous for its Little League World Championship, right?
Yeah,
Little
World
League
Series.
Championship. World Series, that's it. And we had a camper beside us, and they would come in and out of their campground by driving under our awning while we were sitting there and getting their headlights about a foot away from our faces.
Yes.
And then backing into their spot. And then the rest of the afternoon, they would wear their baseball uniforms.
Yes, they
but
would
this was an
stay in
adult who was the real problem, not the kids. He was wearing a baseball uniform too. And they would pass baseball in our campsite, which was driving our dogs crazy, not to mention us. But they never stopped. They just kept doing it. The last day that they were there, and the adult in the baseball suit was leaving, we found out it wasn't even his camper.
That's right.
He was freeloading in his friend's camper and annoying everybody in the campground. Those are a couple memories that we had. But the point of the video is simply this. If you take your family camping, it may be the family members that you've known and loved for years, but you will have new experiences, and I think you'll look at each other in brand new ways and learn great new things about each other. And maybe if you're lucky, someday you'll be sitting on YouTube with a family member you love and reminiscing about A-Rod or styrofoam fires, or, you know, really cool things. So we would just like to encourage you to take your family camping, and we'd love to hear your stories. So if you've run into any A-Rods or Coles or...
Oh, I get to do this. Comment below. Right?
Comment below and tell us all about your family camping experiences. And hey, if you go for the first time because you've watched this video or anybody else's video and it encourages you to do it, please tell us your stories. We want to hear them. Thanks. Bye-bye.